Welcome to the presentation by Sri Veda Bharati of Hyderabad on the gigantic work of preservation of the Vedas. The presentation is made in three parts. Part 1 is an introduction describing the extent of original Vedic literature. Part 2 highlights the threats to the Vedic system today. And finally, Part 3 deals with the solution and plan of action. The Vedas embody eternal values of India's great civilization. The Mauryan and the Gupta empires might have become a part of ancient history. The ruins of Nalanda and Takshashila might have become a subject matter of archaeology. But the knowledge and wisdom contained in the Vedas are a source of inspiration for millions in the past, present and future. As per tradition, the divine syllable Om is the source for all the Vedas. The Rishis, aspiring for the experience of the supreme bliss, heard the mantras during their samadhi state and hence they are called Shrutis. The penance and sacrifices of innumerable sages resulted in the discovery of millions of mantras. They were broadly segregated into Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda and Atharvaveda. The four Vedas were subdivided into 1131 branches for the sake of convenience. They were further elaborated through several Upavedas like Ayurveda, Dhanurveda and Gandharva Veda. With a view to explaining their contents and structures, Vedangas and Darshanas were written. They were further elucidated through Smritis, Itihasas, Puranas and Bhashyas. In addition, there was a blossoming of literature on 64 varieties of arts. In fact, the expansion has touched every subject of importance and every branch of science, including mathematics, physics, chemistry, astronomy and medicine simultaneously. All this has happened over a large time span of several millennia, starting from time immemorial. The great sages for whom we should be thankful form a galaxy and include versatile personalities like Vasishtha, Bharadwaja, Angirasa, Parashara, Vedavyasa and Jaimini in the ancient times, only to mention a few. The contributors of medieval period include Panini, Varahamihira, Bhaskaracharya, Shankara, Ramanuja, Madhva, Vidyaranya, Sayanacharya and a host of others. This Vedic legacy was carried forward in the last century also by stalwarts like Swami Dayananda, Sri Aurobindo and Kanchi Paramacharya. An interesting aspect is that several foreigners also made dedicated attempts for the past 2 centuries to explore the significance of the Vedas. Our great sages evolved unique methods for preservation and propagation of both the Vedic Shabda and the Vedic literature. As regards the Vedic Shabda, it is the manner of chanting which is the heart of the Veda. They introduced the Gurukul system wherein the student gets the instruction from his teacher through oral recitation with precision up to the last syllable. Once received, the student has to constantly chant the Veda and adopt the same methodology to propagate for the next generation. While most of the teaching took place in ashrams and villages, there were universities also accommodating more than 10,000 students each. As regards the Vedic literature, its preservation and propagation was carried out through recordings on the medium of palm leaves for several centuries. It was a historical fact that the libraries at Nalanda and Takshashila universities had collections of millions of palm leaf books. Thus, the Vedic literature became vast in spread, huge in size, and deep in meaning. It is ironical that such a great system had to face challenges from internal dissension, resulting in a virtual revolt. Subsequently, it had to encounter wild external onslaughts also several times. Further, it had to struggle for survival for more than 1200 years under alien rule. This period witnessed systematic attacks on the scholars, teachers and students, resulting in destruction and desecration of Vedic learning centers. Lakhs of palm leaf books piled up in the ancient libraries were burned to ashes for months together. A large extent of the remaining ones have decayed in course of time due to their brittle nature and media problems. Lastly, during the past 2 centuries, there is a definite shift in the value system in India. This resulted in the neglect of Vedic studies. Simultaneously, the number of Vedic teachers and students started reducing fast and became thinner and thinner with the passage of time. As of now, some of these branches are chanted by very few old scholars. There are no students for them. These branches may be lost forever. As a result, the Rig Veda has only 2 branches now as against the original 21. The Yajur Veda has 6 as against 101. The Sama Veda has 3 compared to 1000, and the Atharva Veda has 2 as against 9. Thus, we are left with 13 Veda Shakhas now as against 1131 branches. Out of these 13 Veda Shakhas also, only 7 Veda Shakhas are being chanted in different parts of the country. The remaining 6 are traceable in script form only. Thus more than 99% of the Vedic literature has been lost, leaving less than 1% behind. It is recognized world over that even this itself is huge enough to learn and is relevant even today for both spiritual practice and scientific research. It is regrettable to note that such a rich heritage is facing the threat of extinction from this land itself. Realizing the dangers posed to the Vedic system, several institutions and individuals have announced some schemes for preservation of Vedic chanting. Attempts are also made for the printing of texts and microfilming of palm leaf books. However, the steps initiated are not adequate. Hence, for an integrated solution, it was thought necessary to computerize all the available Vedic Shabda and Vedic literature. The work was started in 1972. Now, the computers with CD-ROMs will ensure better storage and retrieval of information. This will also have an added advantage of providing a powerful tool to the modern scientists for further research. Keeping this in view, Sri Veda Bharati was registered as a public charitable trust in 1994. The governing council is having experts from various disciplines drawn from all over the country. Earlier, the experts of Sri Veda Bharati have contributed to the design and development of computer hardware and software as needed by the Vedic project in 1976 itself. The workload of the total project includes recording of Vedic chanting to the extent of about 10,000 studio hours, data entry of about 5 lakh pages, and scanning of about 10,000 palm leaf books and graphics of about 5,000 pictures. It is estimated the project will cost an amount of 5 crores. The outcome of the project will be multimedia CD-ROMs. Given the resources, the work can be distributed among several teams and completed expeditiously. So far, Sri Veda Bharati has carried out recording of about 80 hours and brought out 80 CDs. It has also carried out extensive research in Vedas. Accordingly, Sri Veda Bharati has published a book on Vedas and computers, highlighting the concepts of compiler techniques as found in Mimamsa Shastra. Similarly, it has published a book on modern sciences in Vedas containing an index of mantras related to the scientific subjects like mathematics, physics, chemistry, medicine and space science. Thus, Sri Veda Bharati has just made a beginning, but an absolutely necessary beginning. The former President of India, Dr. Shankar Dayal Sharma, lauded the efforts of Sri Veda Bharati and called it an excellent work. While releasing the first batch of Vedic CD-ROMs in April 2000, the Prime Minister of India, Sri Atal Bihari Vajpayee, has remarked that indeed a dream has come to be true. It may be noted that the donations made to Sri Veda Bharati are exempt under Section 80G of the Income Tax Act. The august audience are the leaders and makers of contemporary society in India. They have taken the initiative to start institutions of international repute, and the country is fondly thankful to them. The grants forthcoming from you will be an endowment to the nation and the Almighty. May God bestow further prosperity and happiness on you and members of your families. Thank you.
Om Shriyah Kantaya Kalyana Nithaye Nithayerthinam Shri Venkata Nivasaya Srinivasaya Mangalam.
साक्षान् मूलप्रमाणाय विष्णवे मिततेजसे आद्याय सर्ववेदानां ऋग्वेदाय नमो नमः वेदशिवः शिवो वेदो वेदाध्यायी सदाशिवः तस्मात् सर्वप्रयत्नेन वेदमेव सदा पठेत् श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम्